Hi, I'm Steve Valbracht, Marshalltown Airport Manager and co-owner of Marshalltown Aviation. We're having Planes, Pancakes, and Automobiles. It's an annual event out here at the airport to support the local Kiwanis group, and it's put on by the local Experimental Aircraft Association, Marshalltown Aviation, and of course the Mattins Kiwanis, who are cooking pancakes for us. We're blessed to have so many experimental aircraft on the field and a lot of builders. There aren't many groups that are as active as ours, and it really helps promote the airport and bring people into aviation here in Marshalltown. And today they're helping bus tables and working, as well as allowing the public to see their airplanes, even get in their airplanes and see what they do for a hobby. With the Kiwanis group, a few years ago, one of the Experimental Aircraft Association members was a member of Mattins Kiwanis, and it was a really good fit for them to come out and support this event. And it grew from there. We have the classic cars out here. We have members of both the Mattins Kiwanis and Experimental Aircraft Association involved with classic cars, and we have an excellent turnout of some really neat cars on display also. We plan to keep the event going. With the turnout today, the beautiful weather, we'll definitely be having it next fall, and probably around the same weekend next fall we'll be doing the same thing, and keep your eyes out for the advertisements. And these events, year after year, we'll have more and more planes fly in, so we expect it even better turnout next year.
My name is Gary Nablo, Marshalltown, Iowa.
What do you got here?
It's a Taylor monoplane. I bought the plans for it about 7 years ago, and it's not a kit. You just go out and buy the wood, and it's a certain kind of wood, and the grain has to be so many inches per, I think it's 15 inches before it can come off. Took 7 years to build it. I got about 40.2 hours in it now, so I can fly it. The first 40 hours, you got to stay within 25 miles. I had it licensed by the FAA. And now I've got 40 hours on it, so I can sign it off and fly it just about anywhere I want to go. Cruise about 110, lands about 45.
So what's it powered by?
It's a VW engine, Volkswagen. It's a 2180, 75 horse. I put it together too, bought it as a kit. The engine came in 9 boxes, and you put it together, and everything on it's handmade. There's nothing bought in it, well, except for the gauges and the wheels, things like that. But
So how nervous was you to fly it the first time?
very nervous. It was on YouTube. I think it's under Gary Nablo's first flight. It was very nervous. I wasn't used. It's quicker than the other airplanes I've flown. I plan on going around Iowa every Thursday. We go out and eat breakfast different places in Iowa. We got a club.
Okay.
Marshalltown, Iowa's got about 30 members. We go out every Thursday. And we've flown to Oshkosh, where the big convention is every year, Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And then they go to Blakesburg and different places. They have air shows.
Did you fly up there in this?
Yeah, I could. I haven't yet.
Yeah.
My other airplane, I flew up to Oshkosh. This yellow one over here is the same plane. It's 35 years old. Mine's only 1 year old, so. All the instruments are right here. It's like a computer. It's got, instead of all those instruments, all the information is in there.
Wow.
Well, the chapter's been here about 40 years, and it started as a chapter of guys that built home builds. So our roots are in people that wanted to build planes from scratch, and that's how we got started. And we've kind of morphed into a group that still builds airplanes, but we're also a social chapter. And so we do a lot of things like cooking pancakes and going to small Iowa towns with airplanes now and flying there and eating pancakes and whatnot. And every month, the second Thursday of every month, we have a meeting, and it's kind of a social meeting, but we talk about our projects and flying. And there's about 40 of us in the local chapter. And one unique thing about our chapter here in Marshalltown, as you'll see here, we have a large number of home builds for such a small chapter. So we have about 20 home builds, and we have about 35 airplanes in total. So we have more home builds than certified airplanes. We still have people building airplanes. We got 3 or 4 still under construction, and it's just a fun group. We're a chapter of the Experimental Aircraft Association that is located in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and it's been an organization around since the 1950s, and it's an international organization now, about 180 to 200,000 people, and they have chapters in 71 countries, I believe it is, and there's over 1,000 chapters. They have an annual convention up in Oshkosh, Wisconsin every year at the end of July, 1st of August, and they have about 550 to 600,000 people that go there, and it's the busiest airport in the world for a week. They have like 6,000 or 7,000 takeoff and landings a day up there, and it's a great organization. It's made up of different facets. There's what's called the ultralight area, that's real light airplanes. There's helicopters. There's antique classics, which we have some on the airport today. There's home builds, and there's warbirds, people that like to restore planes from World War II and the Korean War and whatnot. And so there's all those different facets of it, and we all get together up at Oshkosh and show our stuff. And but it's quite a convention. There's 600 vendors. There's 60,000 campers. So it is a kind of a mecca for flyers and home builders, and it's just an enjoyable event, and very, very much a family event. Like my family goes up, we take 4 or 5 grandkids, and now we're doing our 3rd generation of pilot in our family, because my son flies and I have a grandson that's now taking lessons. So it's a fun thing to do. There's no requirements. We have people in our chapter that don't even have a pilot's license. They just like being around airplanes, and we enjoy all types of people. Matter of fact, for our chapter, we give a 1-year free membership. Our dues are all of $10 a year. Woo! And the national EAA, we can give them a 6-month free trial, and a membership for the national is about $35 a year, but it comes with an excellent magazine that's worth that in itself, and you get some other benefits from that. I'm presently building my 5th airplane, because I'm what is known as a sickie when it comes to building airplanes. But this biplane here is my 3rd airplane that I built. One of my things I like to do is, and a lot of people like to do, they customize their own airplanes.
Oh, is that right?
So one of the things I do, that's wood imported from Italy for the dash, and all my planes I make panels for them with that type of material. My first airplane is still in the hangar over there. I still own it. My first airplane was made of fiberglass. My next 2 airplanes were made of all wood. My 4th airplane is this one here. It's made out of aluminum, and the plane I'm building now is steel tube welded. So what I enjoy is learning the different techniques of building an airplane and then putting an airplane together with that. Some of the airplanes are kits. Like this is a very much of a kitted airplane, and this airplane is kind of a plans built. And so there's different variations and different levels of competency that's needed to build a kit versus a plans built. But they're all fun things to build.
So when you finished your first plane, what was it like to fly it the first time? Were you nervous?
Of course. It takes about 5 years to build an airplane, so you've got quite a commitment in the airplane at the time. And the first airplane I built, it was kind of a high performance airplane, so I got out here and actually taxied it for 10 hours. Got used to it, going up and down the runway, and finally one day I said, I think I'm ready to go, and took off. And actually at that moment in time I wasn't very nervous because I was very busy. And I flew for about 45 minutes and landed. And after that I went, whoa, I did it, you know. But it's a great thrill. And one of the things I really do enjoy about this hobby and sport is, especially like this biplane, I loved flying along in an evening that's the sun's setting, it's calm there, and look out and move the controls a little bit and say, I built that. That's one of the things I enjoy. And a lot of us that build our own planes really like just see them work.
I have more sound probably. I think I waxed it. I can see a little wax there in front of on the front part of my door. I don't know. That's a little bit too shiny for this guy. I don't think I can keep him out. I don't think I can keep it up. Well, yeah.
Richard Dunsmore, Toledo, Iowa.
So how long have you had this car?
Since around 1986. I had taken it apart, and I had another one that I was driving. One day the wife said that if I didn't do something with it, it was going down the road. So anyhow, my brother built the car. I did some things to it, but my brother Fred built the car for me. It has a 350 Chevrolet motor that I bought brand new in a 75 Chevelle. It's automatic transmission. It's got a Ford 8-inch rear end, and the front end is a Mustang 2 that came out of my daughter-in-law's 74 Pinto. But we have power steering, power brakes, tilt column, creature comforts. We kept everything that made it look original, and even got the original hubcaps on, and they're on AMC rally wheel.
You don't see many Hudsons. How rare are these?
I belong to the Hudson Club, so I have been to a couple of nationals, and so.
And what year is this one?
1937. It's a Hudson Terraplane. Terraplane was more or less a cheaper model in competition with the big three. In 1932, Hudson gave one to Amelia Earhart and I think Orville Wright.
He was 18 years old when he bought it back in 1948. He bought it for $200, and it's been in the family all this time. And I encouraged him when I turned 16 to get it out and running, and we did. And then I went off to college, and then it went into storage again till 1988. The year my son was born, I bought it off my dad, and I started restoring it. It took me 19 years off and on, and I paused a few times because I was so intense when I built this car that when things started going wrong, I'd put it away for a year or 2 years at a time and save up more money. I cycled through about 7 times like that, and I finally got done with it 2 years ago, and I've been enjoying it since.
So how much do you drive it?
I drive it everywhere. Yeah, I have 2,800 miles on it in 2 years, so I've never trailered it other than to get my interior done. So I did everything myself except the interior. So
how did you learn about flatheads?
oh, this is the engine that was in it when my dad had it. So I just been around aviation and cars my whole life. So it was actually a heap of junk pile. I mean, it was junk. If it wouldn't been my dad's, I'd have junked it. It was in such bad shape. These things here I made.
Really?
There's a hose, there's a piece of radiator with 2 clamps on it, goes there. Yeah, I made those out of a piece of stainless steel pipe. I put them in my friend's lathe and heated this up cherry red.
Yeah?
And then curved it in.
Now, how'd you learn how to do that?
I don't know, I just
You didn't know how, you just did it.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't find this out till my dad passed away. And he never bragged about anything he accomplished in his life, but with that engine, I remember him telling me he used to take that engine out and put it in his stock car in Newton, Iowa. I remember him telling me that. And then when my dad passed away, 2 people come up to me and said, "Does your dad still have that 36 Ford Roadster?" I go, "No, I have it." He goes, "Your dad used to take that engine out and put it in his stock car, and he had the Newton track record for 2 years, so it had been with that engine in it." So I didn't ever know that. I just knew Dad used to take this out and put it in his stock car, but he never told me he had the track record at Newton for 2 years with that. So that almost brought a tear in my eye when I heard that story.